Okay, we've talked about communication. Now let's move on to the next thing. Because we're talking about who we are. And part of who we are is going to have a lot to do with this next part of the conversation. We have to ask ourselves reflectively, internally, do we have narcissistic or sociopathic tendencies? Now, you might want to ask you might be saying right now, wait, you're going too far. Because of course none of us want to think that we are those kind of people. But let's explore that. Now I looked up narcissistic, and I don't think I went into the sociopathic portion of it because I want to keep this kind of short. So what I came up with, a narcissistic behavior is a need for admiration, an excessive need for admiration. You always have to be liked. Everyone has to like you. Secondly, you have an envy of others, especially of other people's accomplishments. And then there's this exploitacious person. The person that takes in people that they know have good abilities and the ability to achieve, and they exploit them. Exploitacious. Fourth is a lack of empathy. They're not as good as us because we can see that, and only I can fix it. Okay. I know you know where that came from, right? So the next thing is a narcissistic person would expect special treatment all the time. When I walk in the room, I want everybody's eyes on me. I want the conversation to turn towards me. I want everything to be about me. Special treatment. Arrogance. Arrogance. I don't think I have to expound on that much. All of these things, as you can see as I'm going through them, they all tie right back into each other. Do you feel you have a sense of entitlement? Do you always think that things should turn out your way? Another narcissistic characteristic. And grandiose feelings. And it all ties right back into the need for admiration and no empathy and expecting special treatment, arrogance, so on, so forth, yada, yada, yada. We all had the same opportunities the way my father explained it to me. Even in the 60s and 70s as a young black man or a black teenager growing up, he made me believe that if I worked hard enough, I could have whatever it is that I wanted out of life. And that, as long as I treated people fairly, that I would be treated fairly. But he did let me know that there will be times when I would have to fight for that. The wife and I are in vacation mode in our retirement now, so we will be traveling. We traveled to the Philippines last year, had a great time. And if you haven't been there and you've been thinking about or ever thought about going, I suggest you check it out. But do your research first, because it's not a place that is 8,000 miles away from let's say the middle part of America. But so it's not an easy trip from the West Coast. It's about 7,000 miles 8,000 miles from the middle of the country. So the flight that we took, we had a couple of layovers. It took forever, almost a whole day. But there, you can get a nonstop. I know from LAX, and that one from there to your first stop in the Philippines is about 15 hours. Uh, and yeah, that's a long flight. But I've taken one. Actually, my flight was longer, so I can tell you that it's not that bad. You know, you just have to prepare yourself for it. In the meantime, God bless you. Take your time, be a good person, help your neighbors. And if you see somebody in need and the surroundings are safe and you feel the urge to help them, then help them. If you can't help them, at least point it out to somebody else who can. A lot of times, I know I said I was going to end this, but a lot of times in our communities nowadays, we walk past or drive past people in need and we don't pay attention to them for one reason or another. But we need to because the numbers are creeping up because it's becoming harder and harder to make a good living in the United States. There are people that are working full-time jobs that can't afford their rent or can't afford their rent and to feed themselves and their children. So that's a sad situation in a country that's so rich in resources. And if we all just did a little bit, please do a little bit. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you again. Take care. Who's watching? I hope that you will like and subscribe. And don't think I'm trying to preach to anybody. I'm just talking about things that I reflect on about myself. And I think it's important that we should do this from time to time.